Are you looking for a state that has all 4 seasons? Are you craving those sunny summer days or those cold, frigid winters? Well, stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what the weather is like in Massachusetts. Whew, it is way too cold outside, guys. Welcome to my channel. It's Wilson, your neighborhood real estate agent. And in this video, we're going to start with the seasons, and the first one being fall. Let's get started. So fall season. Fall season here in Massachusetts usually starts around September, the middle of September, all the way through the middle of December. You'll know it's fall because you'll start seeing the leaves falling off the trees and you'll start seeing the leaves changing colors. I believe this is called fall foliage. Correct me if I'm wrong, comment down below. You'll start seeing the leaves change. I also like to say the weather here in Massachusetts during the fall is completely bipolar. And bipolar, I mean, 1 minute it's 60 degrees, we only have to wear a sweater. And then the next day it's 30 degrees, we're freezing cold. And this just happened like last week where it was like 60 degrees, sun was out, and the next day it was almost 30 degrees. We had to put on our coats, put our hat on, gloves. It was extremely cold. And sometimes, throw a little rain in there, maybe a little like light snow. And yeah, there you go. You got a bipolar fall season. And I don't mean, yeah, I do mean it. I do mean that fall is bipolar. Because 1 minute it's hot, another it's cold. But that's typical of Massachusetts, For the last 26 years, I've been alive here in the fall season. It's always been the same. It might be cold, it might be warm, it might be hot. Another thing about the fall season here in Massachusetts is you'll still hear about hurricane warnings. You'll still hear about tornado warnings. The thing about us that is different, maybe like if you're from Florida, is that we're not too concerned about the hurricane warnings and the tornado warnings. Yes, we've had some crazy storms come and destroy property and things of that nature. But usually when we hear that there's a tornado storm or hurricane, storm coming or warning, we don't really jump out our seats and like, hey, it's time to run, let's go. We're not like that here. Usually it just means, it's probably passing by or something like that, something of that nature. But yeah, we always get the warnings, but we never have really seen anything that, at least I haven't seen anything that is like monstrous and destructive, if you know what I mean. The last known crazy hurricanes, I believe, was in '91, and that was Hurricane Bob.
And storm surge. Cape Cod and the islands were positioned to absorb the worst of it. Thousands evacuated, leading to an 11-mile backup at the Sagamore Bridge. The entirety of Cape Cod was without power and left in the dark. The storm surge, 10 to 15 feet, was shoved into Buzzards Bay. Onset, born, and where...
Since living in Massachusetts, I haven't seen any crazy things that would make me want to leave Massachusetts. All right, so that brings me to my next season in Massachusetts, which happens to be the winter. Now, let me know if you're in a state where you have a winter, but it necessarily isn't a winter because you don't get, 40 inches of snow a year. You don't really have icy roads. It's just a sweater and, beanie maybe. Let me know if you come from a state like that in the comments down below. But in this next, part of the video, we're going to be talking about the winter season and what the weather is like during that season in Massachusetts. you're thinking of moving to Massachusetts, you probably shouldn't move during the winter season. And if you decide to move during the winter season, just know it's going to be the coldest moving period probably of your life, if you don't live in Alaska at least. The winter season here in Massachusetts lasts from the middle of December all the way down to the middle of March. You typically see during this period a lot of nor'easters. In my lifetime, I've seen a dozen nor'easters. I've seen snow accumulate all the way up to almost my chest area, and I'm about 5'8", 5'9". So if you can just imagine how much plowing and shoveling that is. Oh man. Our coldest months in the winter season is usually January and February. We have temperatures that can almost go below 10 degrees Fahrenheit during those months. And I've seen, the temperature go that low. And, here in Massachusetts, we're now stranger to blizzards and nor'easters. But when it gets that cold, you typically don't see a lot of people in the streets. And, a lot of people are actually picking up ice, salt for ice, because the roads usually have a lot of black ice and things of that nature. The average, the average amount of snow we get here in Massachusetts is around 40 to 48 inches. And that's way above average for any other state here in the USA. And the last craziest snowstorm we've seen was the blizzard of 78, I believe.
It was the storm of the century. The blizzard of 78 dropped more than 2 feet of snow on the Bay State in 32 hours.
Early in the storm, 2 tractor trailers jackknifed along Route 128.
Oh, right.
That's what backed everybody up. Then the snow built up, and then there was no way out.
Late on Monday, February 6th, the wind-whipped snow began to fall at a staggering rate.
If you like snow, then Massachusetts is definitely the place for you. Let me know down in the comments if where you're from you get snow. All right, let's get to the next topic of the seasons here in Massachusetts, which is spring. I also want to talk about the weather too. So my opinion of spring is it's kind of like fall. We're kind of getting out of the winter, and now you're changing up a little bit, and you're starting to see the snow melt. You might still see that snow all the way till June, but we're starting to see the sun come out more. The daylight savings is changing, so we're having longer days now. But the weather's still bipolar. It's still going to be maybe cold one day, hot one day, warm one day. You just don't know what you're going to get in Massachusetts.
Hey guys, it's 9:30 in the morning. It's April 16th and we are getting some snow. They're saying this is a nor'easter, so we'll see how much accumulates.
Spring season here typically lasts from the middle of March all the way to the middle of June. During the end of spring, you'll see a lot of rain storms happening. Don't be too alarmed, because usually after a rainstorm, the sun usually comes right out right after. Right, so we just got through fall. We talked about the winter. We just talked about spring. The last season here in Massachusetts is the summer. And the summer usually lasts from the middle of June all the way down to the beginning of September. Summers here are absolutely great. I love Massachusetts in the summer. You know, when I've gone through fall, the winter, I usually want to leave after the winter. But once summer hits, it reminds me why I love Massachusetts. Here in Massachusetts, summers are great. You know, you got your long days. The sun's out till, 9 p.m. at night. You know, the average highs here in Massachusetts during the summer is around 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a nice hot day. It's not too hot where, we have heat warnings. I've seen a little bit of heat warnings in my years here in Massachusetts, but I haven't seen a ton. During the summer, you definitely want to pop in an AC in the window because it does get hot. But usually after a storm here in the summer, what usually follows is a nice sunny day. Here in Massachusetts, the hottest day or hottest month of the year is usually around July. Summertime here in Massachusetts is great. It's my favorite time of year. It reminds me of why I love Massachusetts. And again, if you're craving a state where you have all 4 seasons and you like bipolar weather and you like snow and you like seeing fall foliage, then Massachusetts is definitely the place for you to move. So yeah, guys, this is my video on Massachusetts and what the weather is like and the 4 seasons. If you have any questions and if you live in Mass and maybe you want to, say anything or comment about the weather, definitely comment below. Let me know what the weather is like in your state. Do you get 4 seasons? Let me know. Stay tuned for any new videos I might have. Like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.